itself, where we're going to have cross-examination or questions that are posed by, well, each of our candidates to whoever they would like to ask questions to based upon what has been said already. And so since Mayor Wright was the first to speak, we'll give him the first opportunity to ask questions and probe into some further claims that were made. Each person has 2 minutes to answer questions asked of them. And we're ready.
Kate, is that okay? Kate, is it okay if I just address the issues without, I'd rather not ask somebody a question like, why did you say that?
Well, feel free.
Can I just take my 2 minutes? Is that fair?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. You know, when I am listening to this, these people are nice people, and they're honest people. The only person whose honesty's been questioned up here has been mine. That was only once tonight, okay? But I can stand that. These are nice people, but I wonder how many council meetings they've attended, because we've addressed so many of these things in council over the last 12, 24, and 36 months. I'd just like to address a few things. Incubator. I'm all for an incubator if it brings new jobs that are different technology than we have and do not compete with the existing small business owners who are struggling in a tough economy already. Somebody said there's no records at the pool. Well, we collect $1 a day from kids. We collected $1 a day, and that had to be turned in. So we knew how many dollars had been paid every day at the pools. Now, I'm sure that one of the candidates was told that somebody had to get 4 architectural drawings for a dumpster pad. I'm sure they was told that. But I can tell you, after 12 years of experience, I know when people are exaggerating. There's no way that anybody got 4 architect's drawings for a dumpster pad unless they went to very incompetent architects. I hope private enterprise will bring more variety in entertainment, more venues for people. The city's role is to invest in things like the Hickory Music Factory, which is doing a wonderful job of bringing music instruction to our people. We invest moderate amounts in entertainment events, but you don't want a large amount of your tax dollars going to fund salsa or reggae or hip-hop or something like that. That's private enterprise's job. Remember, $75,000 of city money went into Hickory Community Theater along with $1.450 of private money. Go by and see it. It's a wonderful asset.
Ms. Harold, would you like to ask some questions, or would you like to rebut some previous claims that were made?
As far as the city council meetings go, the turnout is never huge. This is the most, I don't know, maybe the question needs to be, have we ever seen this many people, Hickory residents, in one place for something ever? Me, I haven't physically been to council meetings. You know why? Because someone records them and puts them online. What about that 21st century? So, with that being said, is that we need to make these things accessible to everyone. A lot of people couldn't be here today, and hopefully this will be recorded as well so people can participate and people can be a part of it, because we actually have a small number that is making our decisions, and it actually is one-sided. I'm glad that he's for the incubators. I am too. 87% of businesses that go through incubators actually are successful. So it's not just something that I kind of came up with. I guess with being a business major, it is something that is important to me, and it is something, as far as this whole rebuild that we should be doing, that would be instrumental, because it inspires people and it makes them be a part of something. And everybody doesn't want to come out to a meeting. Everybody doesn't. But again, if we do something, which would be great if we could just simply air it on Charter. My neighbor works at Charter, said it's easy breezy for it to happen. We just have to say we want it. So I hope that with that being said, that is part of our being transparent, that we do make it accessible for everyone, because everyone has their different reasons, whether it be working, whether it be children, and different things as to why they don't come out. But again, from the video, there hasn't been this many people that attend the meeting, but it doesn't mean that their input isn't important. Thank you.
Mr. Revels?
Jobs. I have a solution for some jobs, and that is, if we can get 1% of the budget of $90 million for this city, then we can put a lot of people to work. And I'm talking about community-based jobs, working for the city, working for Parks and Recreation, even a swimming pool if we had one. So what I'm asking you guys is to support me for mayor. I think you're going to find, I'm going to put in an advisory council. It's going to be completely independent of the city of Hickory, and I'll get information from all quadrants of the city. And then we can kind of channel that into our town hall meetings and go to work and get Hickory pointed in the right direction. Thank you.
We need to rebuild trust with accountability in City Hall. City Hall broke the law on the sales project, including these very specific laws. City Hall had no competitive bidding, which is required on projects beginning at $30,000. This law is a good law. If City Hall had followed that law, no one's name would have been dragged through the mud. City Hall has no competitive bids, and those bids do require that you have an engineer or an architect make drawings to support the bid amount, and also sign off on inspections along the way for safety to make sure the work is completed the way it's supposed to. We could have saved a lot of money right up front if we'd have followed that law. We spent almost $85,000 for city employees' work, above the legal limit of $50,000 for this project. We could have created jobs if these laws had been followed. You can easily find these laws, they're on the internet, and you can find the figures on City Hall's website as well, although I can guarantee you'll have to dig a lot. You can find out other news on the City Hall website, including the budget for this year, which provides $35,000 to demolish the Westmont Gym. Why are we demolishing the Westmont Gym? Do we need to only add a handicap bathroom and a ramp to meet the ADA requirements? Again, another good law. Why haven't we done this already? We need to expand recreation in every part of the city and not demolish it.
I want to start by addressing Mr. Wright's question about council meetings. That's actually one I'm very happy to explain to you guys. I was a city employee for 12 and a half years. During that 12 and a half years, I was required to be at every single council meeting unless I was out of town. I served on the Board of Adjustment 2 terms, that's 6 years. I was at city council meetings off and on during those 6 years. When I was working with the Waste Reduction Task Force, I was in and out of city council meetings, so unless somebody else has something, I think I win the most council meetings attended. Earlier someone said something about now is the time to promote jobs, and that's very true. I want to go one step farther than that. I think we've actually passed that time a little bit. I think the time to address jobs was when our unemployment reached double digits and was exceeding the national average. So I think now we've got a hole we've got to dig ourselves out of, and I think we need to get started soon. Thank you.
Mr. Masche.
come out here right and see everybody.
Can everybody see me now? Okay. I want to talk about, I don't want to talk about what the other candidates say because everybody has great ideas. That's why we're here. What we're here for you to do is to decide which candidate you think is going to be your next best mayor. And as I said before, it's time for a change, and we need that change. I think the transparency, let's talk about the city hall meetings. Thanks to somebody recording them and putting them online, I was watching them before I started attending. I saw some things that were going on, and I said, I need to go to these city hall meetings and start seeing what's going on, and that's when I decided to run for mayor. I think we do need new leadership. We need enthusiastic leadership. We need youth. We need other youth in our community, not just me. I just turned 50 years old this year, so I'm not a spring chicken anymore, and I'm not going to be here forever. So we need to engage youth like Mr. Wine over there, who's a young Democrat. Josh, who's a young Republican. We need youth like that to carry out our leadership and into the future. So we need to support them. We need to nurture them and get them involved and get the whole community involved. Like I said before, all cultures, all races involved in our community, and make the decisions from City Hall that come down good for the whole city. Again, not just for one section of town. And I'll be glad, Mr. Wright, I'll get that person that told me about the slab. I'll get those 4 copies of drawings and get them to you on Monday. Before we start the closing statements, I'd like to make sure everyone in the audience knows that we'll have some students that will be going along the aisles to collect any last-minute questions you might have. And so if you have not, we encourage you to please grab a sheet of paper from the front of the auditorium where you entered. And there are writing utensils in case you'd like to do that, or just pass a sheet of paper with a question to one of the students as they go by. Because after the closing statements, we'll make sure to try to get as many questions from the audience as possible. And so, with no further ado, Mayor Wright and his closing statements.
You alone? You know, most of the issues that I raised were not discussed. That's okay. I didn't challenge anybody. I simply said these are things that I would like to point out. And I would point out, I'm looking forward to seeing the architectural drawings. Remember I said if they had that, there were some very incompetent architects involved. No laws were broken, okay? If they hadn't been broken, we would still be in court over it. We've been in court over, not in court, but we've had a law firm from Durham down here challenging the way we divide up our wards, providing assistance to change the way we do our ward elections, and filing a claim with HUD that we violated fair housing because we made a business decision to eliminate the pools. No laws were broken. I left my page of notes back here. Too many pages. I want 4 more years. Down to 30 seconds already? The elephant in the room is this. We have got to do Innovate Catawba and Innovate Hickory. We've got to lead. Part of that is inspiring spaces. People are not talking about that. I don't know why. But maybe it's because that is something good that we have done with the collaboration and input of people across this county, other municipalities, and our great citizens. I want to be the mayor because my dad was a worker. He was a fixer in a hosiery mill. He came home one day and said, I'm out of a job because they did away with full-fashion hosiery. Women are wearing pantyhose and not pull the seams up the backs. He said, when I go to the city manager, I don't always get the answers I want, but he said, I think I get the same answers the millionaires do. That's the way I've operated for 12 years. I'd like to be your mayor 4 more years and do the same thing. Thank you.
I want to be the next mayor of Hickory because I represent change. Now, that change that I speak of, that change is to bring Hickory together. Hickory has grown, if you think about like the span of things and, okay, the restaurants, which we have more than enough of. However, we've grown apart. And that same hustle and bustle that some of you may have heard me speak of the late 90s and early 2000s, it is no longer here. If inspiring spaces, inspiring Catawba was directly someone could tell me it will make X amount of jobs in X amount of time, then maybe I would be for that. That has not been said. So, again, the thing is, our big issues, joblessness and homelessness. We need to set up a program to get people off of the streets. We have tent families. We shouldn't have tent families. We're so rich. We have all this money. We're not investing in our people. We have got to invest in our people. We had an area that was the hotel. Now, I'm prior service. My family's been in the military, and you know what? There are disabled vets, there are other homeless people in town, but that would have been great for us to have had, and it would have been VA funded, but we chose it to happen another way. A businessman purchased it, and we have to think about the good of everyone, and we are not thinking about the good of everyone, and we have to. I represent diversity. I am about fairness and openness, and we need that. Thank you.
Ms. Revels.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very important decision to make on how we want our city to go. And it's going to be up to you on October the 8th to make that decision on how you would like to see the city move. I have a strong love for my country, my state, and I love Hickory. I have a deep interest in politics, always have. And I've watched our country go into financial distress because of the leadership. I believe I can lead Hickory in an honorable and integrity fashion. And I ask for your vote November the 8th. October the 8th.
Dr. Inglefield.
We need good jobs in Hickory. The lack of jobs is one of the main reasons we are on the Gallup poll, 5th most miserable area in the country to live. We need sustainable prosperity for everyone, and that is why I'm running for mayor. Not to stop the music at the sales or the Western Piedmont Symphony or any other community treasure. Let's have more music. Let's have more diversity. Let's invite school groups and community groups to sing and recite and dance and bring the creativity that we need in this community. It has been said that the old leaders do not want to fix their problems. Instead, they deny their problems. Let's all work together to fix the problems that we have, and let's bring these jobs to Hickory. Even our health issues, such as obesity, are tied to the lack of jobs. For every decision that City Council makes, let's come together in community and see that we are all accountable in the way we use our precious resources. Our money, our public money, our time and our attention. And we need to make sure that we are building a community that is a boom town and not a ghost town. We don't want to continue down the road to be a ghost town. Let's make sure that the ideas that we have and the ideas that we use have a track record of success. We don't want to repeat mistakes. We need to move forward, and we need new leadership. We need fresh blood in office, and it's time for a change. 12 years is way too long, and asking for 4 more is just kind of unconscionable.
We've heard a lot of different ideas and thoughts here tonight. We've also seen a lot of common threads, and I think that's a good thing. What I could offer you as the next mayor for the city of Hickory is actual local government experience, mostly from my 12.5 years as a city employee. I think I can provide the vision, the leadership, and demonstrated abilities to be able to manage the city and help make a difference for your community. As a former department head, I know how the city works from the inside. I think I have a unique perspective on local government, and I'd like to use those skills and that experience to help lead you guys back to being a prosperous city again. I think I can offer the city proven strategies for what's going to come in the future and to help promote growth and progress in the city. One of my favorite things to do in my personal life is we have a place at the beach, and I love to go there just as often as I can. One of the things that drives my wife crazy, actually, is I collect shark's teeth. I don't know if you can see that, but that's actually a jar of at least hundreds, if not close to 1,000 shark's teeth. I've had people say, I've gone to the beach for 20 years and I've never found a shark's tooth. You know, if you're walking along and, one sticks to your foot, that's not a way to find shark's teeth. I find shark's teeth the way I do everything. I take a bag, I have a plan, I have a strategy. I don't go hoping I'm going to find shark's teeth. I go out expecting to find at least some. The question is how many. And I've been pretty successful at that, and I think I can be successful for you as your mayor. Thank you.
Mr. Masche.
I think if you talk to anybody that knows me or has been around me in Scouts or I fly model airplanes for a hobby, they'll tell you that I'm a passionate person about anything that I do, and that's the way I'm going to be about being the next mayor of Hickory. You can ask my wife for sure. When I get into something, I go full bore. There's no stopping me if I get my mind set on doing something, and I think right now my mindset is to fix Hickory and get us back the way we were when I was growing up. I attend Harvest Bible Chapel in Hickory, and in our Bible study we talk about time, plan, and place, TPP. There's a time for everything, there's a plan for everything, and there's a place for everything. The time is now for change. I've got the plan, and the place is here in Hickory, and we're going to make something happen great.
All right, before we jump into the questions, I do want to reiterate a very large thank you from Lenoir-Rhyne, from the School of Journalism and Mass Communication, as well as the LR Debate team, to all of the candidates for being here and taking time out to do what I think is a very excellent service to the community. I also want to thank everyone from the community for turning out in the first place. This is exactly what we want you to think of when you think of Lenoir-Rhyne. Not just a quality education, but also informing citizens about important things regarding their daily lives. And so, if we can get to some questions, we will.
Hey, Kate, can we ask a question?
Yes.
What time is, or where's the homecoming parade tomorrow? Where's it start and stop?
It starts, I want to say, at 9 a.m. tomorrow, and it should start in the parking lot of the football stadium. So you mentioned kids, you have young kids, we have a little train there, so a lot of fun for kids as well. So we're working on this Saturday. The question, we do. It's a 10? No, it's a 10.
10 o'clock.
9 o'clock is the preparation time. 10 o'clock. Okay. All right, can I get some questions? Where is this question? Ian, will bring this up now? Very random. If you were elected mayor, would you be willing to court companies such as Beretta, Colt, and Smith & Wesson, knowing that North Carolina and Catawba County are areas they have considered moving to?
Anybody?
Anybody's free to jump in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't see why we wouldn't court them over any other companies. The Second Amendment gives everybody the right to bear arms, so why wouldn't we court them?
I'm trying this leaning in thing. I know, right? My answer would be yes. I actually do believe in the amendments and following rules and following directions, we know. I am a gun owner. Do I believe in safety? Yes, I do. Safety is always first. I am a parent, and so even more so, do I believe that having laws in place to make sure that those things are safe, that guns are safe? I do. However, we all know that, yes, guns are, it would actually bring a lot of money to this area. And people are gun owners already, and we have gun shows and things of that nature. So I don't think that it would be a bad idea. I'm done now.
Yes.
I'd like to say I'm in favor of that as well. The bad guys are going to get guns no matter where they come from or who makes them. So we might as well be able to work with those organizations and make them here if that's going to employ people in the Hickory area.
Yes, for me also. Well, I'll be the oddball. I think that we need to bring businesses into this area. However, I would not be in favor of bringing in an industry that destroys lives. And I feel that large capacity weapons and so forth have no business in the civilian population. And if those companies are doing that or producing those, I think that's something I would not be interested in bringing to this community.
Can I make a comment?
Well, I guess the thing is, we didn't decide what line of product was going to be actually done here. And do I have an AR-15? No, I don't. But I guess anything within reason is fine. I guess being a gun owner, it is something. It is not your time yet. You're ready to go. Hold on. So, at any rate, no one said that it was going to be assault rifles and all of those things. Is that something to consider? Yes. Am I for those? In combat, maybe. And I know that firsthand, being in the military before. So I think there's something to be said about that even still. Thank you. Your turn.
I want the record to show that I had not said anything. I don't own a gun. Please, let's keep that a secret among us. But I think I'm safer because the criminal element thinks I probably do.
Yeah, I want to disagree respectfully with one thing that Jody said. Guns don't kill people, people do. Smart gun ownership and concealed carry classes and learning how to properly carry a gun to protect yourself from criminals, there's nothing wrong with that.
And I'm probably the only person in Catawba County who has a concealed carry permit that doesn't own a gun.
Let's move on to our next audience question. Where is the money coming from for inspiring spaces?
I would ask, what is inspiring spaces?
Is this time for the candidates to ask questions, or is this the time for you to ask?
I don't know, you're asking a question.
Well, we'll start off with the question that's written by the audience member, which is, where is the money coming from for the
We
inspiring
are
spaces?
going to have to invest. Has anybody made that a secret? It's time for us to realize if we're going to grow jobs and grow the population, we've got to invest. A lot of you have heard about the 1% prepared meals tax, which I happen to favor. I favor that for this reason. I think it's a non-regressive tax. That is, it is not onerous to the lower income people. It is shared by people who live here as well as people who travel through here. The person, and I know people who spend $1,000 or more a month on prepared meals in a year. That person, if they spend $12,000 a year on prepared meals, this cost would be $120. Our population declined 0.5%, folks. I'm proposing investing and turning that around.
Well, as I understand, thank you. Y'all hear me out there?
Get closer, Terry.
We do want to try
That's
to
not
touch
working.
the mic from your right, please.
Yeah, get it.
There we go.
Y'all hear me now? Okay. As I understand Inspiring Spaces, this project is going to cost us $80 million over the next 10 years. $2 million from the federal government, $2 million from the state, $2 million from private investors, and $2 million locally. Okay, let me make this clear up front. According to the mayor, we have not had any appropriations as of yet. But my thought is this: if we start Inspiring Spaces without the funding in place, sooner or later, we are going to have to pick up the tab. And as far as taxes, until I have a chance to review the prepared food tax, my answer is no new taxes.
Well, it's my understanding that the sales have been called the first inspiring space. And they didn't even know that it was going to be an inspiring space. What kind of plan is that? When people start talking about $80 million, I'd like to know what they're going to do with it. I think it's important that we understand what the public money are being used for. I think it's important to not use funds that are designated specifically for reasons by law, such as the parking reserve fund that was used for the sales project. I think we need to be careful about the use of public monies, and we need to be open and transparent about those uses. One of the other things that's come up is, the whole idea of having things on the TV channel. We've been working for that for the last couple of years. The city has done nothing but drag their feet. There's no reason this debate cannot be on the public channel. There's no reason at all. I asked the mayor to facilitate that, to expedite that. He refused. There's no reason this can't be on public television. And we need to have the opportunity for people who are not here tonight, who are at the football game, at the Ridgeview Panthers High School reunion, These people should be able to see this debate. And there's no reason we can't be more transparent, and we need to be transparent with the monies that are spent. My wife was arrested getting public information that we all deserve to know. I would ask the mayor right now, what was the cost of the fabric that is on the sales downtown? What did the cost?
First of all, I would like to make it clear that no laws were broken.
You just read the laws, they're on the internet.
No laws were broken by...
You decide.
No laws were broken by the city of Hickory. We hear this talk about $8 million. At the Democrat Forum, I was asked, and in good faith, I tried to put my arms around what I think inspiring spaces will involve. I'm an accountant by nature, 24 years I served as a CPA. So the way I've expressed it, and I said this is a swag, and if you want to know what a swag is, I'll explain it to you later. It involves one slightly naughty word, okay? I said, let's think about $80 million over 10 years divided up $8 million a year, with the city doing 2, the state doing 2, the federal government doing 2, and private investors doing 2. Well, we have a pledge for a conservancy that Mr. Lackey and his family are going to spend $2 to $5 million if the city will spend $500,000, and that will be used by everyone throughout this region, regardless of financial resources. Ultimately, we will have a sidewalk going from Geithner Park to J.C. Park, and then the other way, a trail, bike and walking trail, all the way to the other side of 321. Tremendous amenities for people of all ages. 80 million, I don't know, but I will tell you this, let's don't talk dip a toe in. Let's plan to make an investment and turn around our population so that someday, if we don't invest now, the day will come, like it already has in some cities, where your property is worthless. There's no one there to buy it. I'm not preaching doom. I'm just saying now's the time to build on what we already have. And let's make this the success story of the decade in North Carolina.
You've had over a decade.
As far as the inspiring spaces are concerned, for an increase, a possible increased prepared food tax, or what has been thrown out there is a increased property tax, I'm not for it. I'm not for it because already people are struggling, and so a lot of people do have the means to go out to eat, and some of those places are small businesses, and some of those small businesses would not take too kindly to us increasing the tax where less people will frequent their establishments. I wasn't done yet, but thank you, Bill. I crack myself up sometimes, but as far as the inspiring spaces is concerned, if the cost is unknown, I'm going to say we need to table that, because just this, this possible number, or, and I know you're saying dip a toe in, or we can't just dip a toe in, just fully immerse. And if I don't know the bottom line, and that's when that P&L stuff starts rolling in my mind, though I'm not a CPA, managing funds, that's scary to me. The unknown is really scary. And if we can't define it, I'm going to say no on that. But another thing is it would have been great if the people that are at the ball game that this presentation is being made, it would have been great if they had been able to be here. This actually, just with the planning of all of that, is very interesting in that on this night, though this was pre-planned, that actually, was set up. And it's just like, oh, I'm saying that to say that is a great thing, that the trophies were found and everything. But how great would it have been as far as coordinating one with another to have had it where our citizens could have been here as well. So, thank you.
I wanted to clarify one thing. That's the This is a political event, and I don't think any thinking person out there would believe the city should get involved in making available a political event to the people. LR has equal access to the public education and government channel, I think it is. And LR can do that, and I've encouraged LR to do it. I think it would be very helpful for the citizenry if this is played over and over. But I don't think the city needs to be involved in sponsoring and taping and presenting political functions.
Okay, can we get back to the question that was asked?
Sure.
Where's the $80 million coming from, right?
It was.
For the sales.
Where is the money coming from?
Inspiring Spaces.
Yes, sir.
Well, as I understand, the $80 million was split between federal funds, state funds, local funds, and then private investors. And some of the cities that I've traveled around the country, most of those investments for places that are to be inspired in the city are done by the big corporations in those communities. And I'm sure not going to sit here and wait on Washington, D.C. to send us $2 million a year when they can't even stay open this week and run business as usual.
Holler Hosiery Mill, $7.2 million. 200,000 city, $3.5 million federal tax credits, $3.5 million private investment.
I've got a couple comments. First of all, I mean, as I said earlier, it's hard to be against Inspiring Spaces. I just don't think now is the time. There's other things that are more important for the city. One thing I would like to understand is, whether it's the sales on the square or the donation by the Lackey family, I want to know what the return on that investment is. Are we getting jobs out of them? It's one thing to beautify an area. I'm all for that. I think everybody is. But what are we seeing for that? The land design who did the Inspiring Spaces out of Charlotte had several comments on their website that I thought was very interesting. They threw out some numbers and some values and land assessments and all these other things, but they never said what it increased for those communities. They said they had spent so many $1 million fixing up this area in Greenville, South Carolina, and it's a beautiful place to visit. That doesn't tell you if they created jobs. It doesn't tell you if it improved the quality of life for the people that live there. It just said it's a pretty place to visit. I think we need more than that. Thank you.
All right, if we can do one more question. I hate to have to wrap this up, but I think that's probably in the best interest of everyone, especially for those that still would like to attend a football event or find out more about what's going on. So the last question we'll finish off the evening with is, in your opinion, what is the #1 reason that young people are not staying in Hickory besides jobs?
No, I don't have to go over there. Just fine. Young people are not staying in Hickory because there's nothing for them to do. Right now we have to pace myself sometimes. Thank you for helping me with that. Young people are not staying, and everybody's seen the newspaper where it said the young and the restless. You notice the young adults were saying one thing, and the adult leaders were saying something completely different. We have to listen. We have got to listen. There's nothing to do, and any of you, if you've been on 70, you know that forever it's been where that's like this drag strip from one end of 70 to the next. And now the kids have actually started hanging out at Taco Bell. The kids told me, because I went out there and talked to them, all we need is somewhere to go. We just want to just hang out, just open space. How easy is that? They just want to be able to hang out with each other. Would it be nice if someone could start some fun place for them to go? Everybody goes off to Myrtle. They go to Myrtle because of the strip. They go there because there's things to do. There are go-karts. There's things to do. There are not a lot of things to do. Yes, we have Science Center. We do have some things, but those things are not open after 9 o'clock. So the movies, yes, we can go to the movies. We can go out to eat. We're more than that. We want to do more. And when we leave the city, we go and we spend our money elsewhere. So we need to inspire people in order to build these new places and stay in our city. Thank you.
Well, I'll go next. We've always had this phenomenon, and if you're honest, you'll say, kids go off and they go to college, they get their education, and then out of a place like Hickory, they say, well, I'm going to spend some time in Raleigh or Charlotte or Atlanta or New York. What we've lost is a lot of the blue-collar people at that age, more so than losing more college graduates. It's jobs. It's inspiring spaces. It's growing jobs to grow the population. And it's growing the population to grow jobs. The private sector will step up. If you go to Greenville, Chattanooga, these other places, they didn't start off saying, we're going to do this because we know 12,217 jobs with an economic impact of $3.8 million is going to happen. No, they said, we've got to do something to turn this around. We need to turn it around. 0.5% drop in our population, and I'm not hearing any of these other candidates talking about concrete stuff they're going to do.
We need something that's measurable. We don't hold City Council accountable for the number of jobs. We need to be able to measure the impact of these things. We've got close to $20,000 worth of video equipment on Union Square. How come we cannot count the number of people who actually attend these events? When we've got video technology with face recognition, we should know exactly how many people are using the sales or using any other project downtown. We got a $12,000 camera looking at the mural downtown. So we need to do something that's measurable and that's successful, and we need to be persistent in terms of what we do, and we need to be careful about how we use our resources. I ask everybody to come to the December meeting for City Council, no matter who's mayor. That's when a lot of things happen. Right before the holidays, something always drops. So, if you're interested in what goes on in Hickory, please show up. And please come, if you can't, watch the video that is taken by the city or by the Hickory Hound so that you'll know what's going on. It's so important that we understand where our money's going. And we need to be careful about what we do, because everything that we do should be measured against the number of jobs that we're able to attract to the area. And it can be tracked. We need to be able to quantify it, make sure that people are getting a good return on their investment. Very much what Jeff said earlier. Thank you.
Well, I think one of the problems that we are not looking at is internships. We have a lot of brilliant students that could get involved in this program. The city already has it on its books. All we have to do is implement it, find the money to do that. There's no reason that we can't do it. A couple ideas I've been thinking about is the spaces that I was talking about earlier, the placemaking. That can be anything from a child on the square drawing with chalk. And let me tell you, you get some of these fifth graders that can draw out there, you can't tell them it's not art. The other thing is a lot of just general activities. I mean, go down to New Orleans, you see guys dancing on the square, and doing flips and drawing face painting. And a lot of these things are easy, they don't cost a lot of money, and the city just needs to make a space available. This can be done in the neighborhoods as well. From your own neighborhood, you can just organize something like that. The city would be more than happy to provide you with materials if you need some. I don't see anything wrong with that. But business also has to get involved. and help the people that are doing the internship. Thank you.
For me, concrete is business incubator, vetting new businesses, having the forum with the local business owners and letting them know that there are people that can be employed, but they personally are causing barriers. The barriers I spoke about, high school diploma. If the person has been in a mill for 10 to 20 years, is it really pertinent for you not to hire them because they don't have their high school diploma? Is it really? Another thing, used to be that if you were a felon, you couldn't work, okay? Now, if you have misdemeanors, you can't work in Hickory. I know, it sounds like it's not true. It is true. There are obstacles that are in the way of people being employed. This is concrete, this is real, this is measurable, and we need to look at those things. Secondly, whenever I talk about these new business owners, young people are fired up about what I'm talking about. They are. They're fired up that they could be business owners. They have ideas, they want to make things, and we've seen this here lately, this big turn of, hey, we're doing things for entrepreneurs and all this. The chamber, it costs about between $400 and $600 to be a member. Can a small business owner do that? I met a business owner that is now out of business. They took over an existing company here in Hickory, a restaurant actually. Revenues were about $60,000 annually for that year, and they say that they paid $4,000 in fees to the city. Concrete is what I've spoken about, and we need to make something happen. I was told that we're not going around lassoing in companies to come here, that they're mystery shopping us. They're probably seeing those quadrants that I'm talking about, and they don't want to come. That could be it, but I don't think that that's the case. We need to aggressively go after new business, and I think anything that I've said tonight has been concrete, and we need to move forward. Thank you.
I'd like to answer the question as well. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to Dr. Inglefield for bringing up the video surveillance system downtown. I worked with the Hickory Police Department on implementing that several years ago, so it will definitely give us the ability to look and see how many people are downtown. With the high-resolution cameras that we installed, we can see what size shirt you're wearing. So it was designed to be able to see a tag on a car from across the parking lot. So we can definitely see the age of people, and that goes back to the original question, which is what do young people need? Why are they leaving? I happen to be the father of an 18-year-old and a 21-year-old. And both of my daughters, unfortunately, have told me they can't wait to get out of Hickory because they're bored and there's nothing to do. Both of my children go with friends to Charlotte. The first few times, my wife and I went and just kind of bummed around and went out to eat because we didn't want them going by themselves. As long as we're in a group of friends, they've actually been very safe and we've not had any issues. But I would much rather my children be here. They want to be with children. They want to be with young adults their own age. They want to dance, they want to talk, they want to laugh, they want to have a good time. Most of us did it when we were either in high school or college. And yes, some of them are probably going to have a few drinks. We need to be able to provide that here. I don't like my children having to drive to Charlotte back and forth to be able to be with their friends.
I think I'm going to go back to a couple of comments I made earlier. One, I think, was in my opening statement about the internships and the apprenticeships with the local businesses. Just like Jeff, I've got a son that's 18 years old. He's a freshman at NC State now, and he said he's not going to come back to Hickory because there's not enough for him here. But in Raleigh with NC State, there's all kinds of internships, apprenticeships set up with local businesses down there that most of the students, by the time they're at the end of their junior year, they've already got a job lined up, so they don't have to go anywhere. They go from the campus right over to the whatever the business is and start their careers. So I think we definitely need to be more aggressive with that here in Hickory. We've got a lot of companies here that need employees, so we need to get those students matched up with the jobs that they like. Again, going after the businesses, lassoing them, whatever aggressive means we need to do to get them here. I think the city council has taken the sit and wait attitude the last 12 years, 30,000 jobs, over 30,000 jobs lost in the last 12 years. And we're just not doing enough to replace those jobs and get some new ones in here. So those things coupled together and giving them more activities for their age group. I mean, the Symphony Under the Sails is great. You know, the different music we've got, but we need to do more for them. We need to have more activities and more age-appropriate activities, I guess you would call it, to meet their needs and their wants at their age level and their age group. Am I the last one to comment on this?
Yes, sir.
If anybody else has any more questions, I plan on staying here if anybody wants to talk to me afterwards. Until they throw us out of here, I'm going to sit here on the stage and talk to everybody. And then if they throw us out, we'll go outside and I'll talk some more. Thank you.
Well, I'm very tired, so I'm probably going to go, if I can, go by the LR Homecoming Gala. But call me on my cell phone. It's 238-1465. You can find it on every corner.
So I just want to thank everyone once again. If we can give all the candidates a round of applause. And thank you so much for coming tonight.